Kim.
Hi Magnus.
Hello world.
Hello world.
This is our first program, our first episode within a series of web shows that we will produce the coming year, where we will have interviews with different and very talented people all around the world. Kim and I, we are located here in Malmö at Stratiteq's head office. And myself, I work as the marketing manager at Stratiteq. And Kim, you are responsible for Stratiteq's business strategy.
That's right.
And our offering as well.
Yes.
Kim, you have been very occupied the last weeks.
Yeah, it's been crazy busy actually. I just got the feeling that in the beginning of the Corona lockdown, everybody was sort of focusing on fixing the most acute problems, obviously, trying to get an understanding of how to handle personnel and you know, if they need to close down businesses and so on. But my feeling is now that sort of settled and all of a sudden some people have more time to actually do another type of work. So so this week has been a lot about starting up new workshops and getting projects going actually. So
when people say there are less to do and they're closing down things, you seems to be more occupied than before.
Yeah. Right now it is.
Is it about cleaning up things on the table or checkmark things that has been on the plan before, or is it more of the innovation part?
I think the projects we are starting now are more into sort of getting stuff done so that we can work more efficiently. And I think the crisis is actually exactly about that. We will see new innovation taking place due to the situation, but I think there is also a need for cost reductions to be able to survive and handle that, and the projects we are starting right now is very much about finding new ways of working to be working more efficiently together, whether it's with sales or something else. So I think it's a combination, and for us right now the projects we started are more of the efficiency kind, so to say.
It would be very interesting to hear from our guests how the digitalization affecting their local or regional businesses.
Yeah.
Because the global situation right now will more than ever get use of the digitalization, the opportunities that can be reached by digitizing things.
I think the way we're working is going to change forever.
So we have a guest today from Costa Rica, if I understand it correctly, and his name is Mario. Could you introduce him?
Yeah, so Mario and I met at a boot camp about 2 years ago, where we worked together on business modeling. Actually, it was with Alexander Osterwalder, and we connected because we were in the same working group basically. So when we decided that we wanted to speak with interesting people around the world, Mario was one of the first ones I thought about. So Mario, nice to see you again.
Hi Kim, nice to see you.
Hi. So Mario, you're now the Director of Strategy and Innovation for Ernst Young in Central America, but that was not the case when we met 2 years ago. At that time you were running your own business as a consultant, right?
Exactly.
So now that you're working with Ernst Young and we're maybe more into digitalization as well, what's your sort of general opinion on how far you've come when it comes to digital transformation in Costa Rica and Latin America?
Sure. You know, I've been a fan, passionate about digital transformation. And from Ernst Young, we go to companies to talk to them about disruptive technologies, you know, Industry 4.0, and how they should embrace all this, you know, digitalization. But what I found is that companies are in a very, I would say, in a later stage. So it's like when you go to talk to them, you're talking them to go to the 5th floor of a building, but the basement is full of water. So there's such, I would say, technology debt, so to speak. Their data is not clean. Their governance is not right, so they are, I would say, catching up. Yeah. They're just catching up to what today it's about, and you go to talk, and when you talk to them about digital transformation, it's a very far away concept from my point of view.
Yeah.
They're lagging behind.
Do you mean overall, or is it typical for some kind of company sizes or industries?
That's a great question. I will see that in general banks are well ahead, and when you go to a CIO and ask and tell him, a banking CIO, and tell him about digital transformation, like a big fad, they say, what are you talking about? I've been transforming for the last 20 years. But when you go to other industries like consumer goods, maybe retail sometimes, and smaller companies, it's what I mentioned before.
Okay. So it was interesting. We were speaking the other day, and you were telling me about a study that you made. You went out and interviewed about 20 CIOs and CEOs around Latin America to just ask them about how far have they come with digital transformation. And I thought it was really funny because you summarized it in an interesting way. Could you tell us more about it?
Sure. I was curious trying to offer digital transformation services to CEOs and CIOs about where they were. And I started like capturing what are their challenges, specific challenges they're facing with digital transformation. I kind of found these 7, capital sins of digital transformation I found. So the first one I found was negate. In English, how say it? It sounds well in English. Negation, to avoid reality.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
your sort of denial.
Denial. That's the word. Sorry, denial. The first thing I found was denial, like the ostrich putting the head into the sand. It's what like. You know what? That happens in developed markets like the US and Europe, and that's going to come, later to Latin America. Maybe it's 7 years. So it's denial. I mean, they don't really understand what are the new technologies and how these technologies are transforming the industry. So I was surprised about the level of denial. I mean, they think it's very far away, and things like these are coming really fast. Like, for example, Uber Eats, came to Costa Rica, just to put an example. In just 6 months, it took the market by surprise, and they are now the first player on delivery of food. So this is coming really fast. The other thing I found, it's the second scene is confusion. People think digital transformation, it's all about, social media, or digital marketing, which is a part, of course, of the digital transformation, but they don't see like this is something that affects the whole value chain. You can add value through technology in the whole value chain, not just in marketing or customer-facing things. You can do new business models, you can improve your process. So people really don't get exactly, when you talk about digital transformation, everyone has a different kind of idea or concept of what it is. So there's a lot of, I would say, confusion. The third scene, which is the one where companies really get it and they really want to do digital, it's what I will call gluttony. I call it gluttony because, they start doing pilots all over the place. So they start a pilot on machine learning, they start a pilot on a new app, they start a pilot on Internet of Things, and they're doing so many pilots, like it's like entering a company and seeing fireworks all over the place, but they don't have any result. They duplicate efforts. They don't have an overarching strategy of where those initiatives are going. They don't have metrics, KPIs in place to measure the success or return on investment. So it's like crazy. The other thing I see, it's what I call lost. Lost is exactly when you go, they go to Silicon Valley for a tour of executive to see what are the latest technology. They go and take a picture on Google and Facebook. They do hackathons to get, customer needs and ideas for digital transformation. They start training like crazy in agile technologies and Scrum and everything like that. And it's like, again, a lot of fireworks, and they kind of, it's what I call innovation theater, right? It's like they do a lot of things, but nothing concrete. That's lost. Then I found envy. envious where they see the competitor is implementing a CRM or some cool new technology. They do it without a business case, and they don't know why they're only using 10% of that technology. It's like, I mean, you go and ask the CIO what is his digital transformation roadmap, and I have my own digital transformation roadmap. And you see like that, and they say, okay, implementing SAP, then SAP HANA, then SAP Leonardo, and you say, no, that's not your digital transformation roadmap. That's your vendor sales plan. It's like you're not really thinking what will give your company competitive advantage, what will give your company return over investment. You're just doing what everybody else is doing, or someone else, the best vendor, the best salesman is telling you to do, right? So it's very crazy. Most CEOs I talk with, they say basically the same thing. I quote, it's like, I'm spending lots of millions of dollars on digital transformation. I don't see any result at all, and there's no project is on time. I don't see any project delivering on time. So it's kind of crazy. It's like a black box where you put a lot of money in and nothing comes out, and nothing comes out at time. So it's very crazy. The other thing I've noticed is what I call sloth. Sloth is confusing digitalization with digital transformation. It's like they think that they have a broken process or an inefficient process, and they think that digitalizing that is transforming it. And it's not. You need to really question if that process adds value and redesign it, and then use digital technology to really transform it. And to finish, I would say people, the last thing I see is people think that digital transformation is all about technology and investment in technology, but it's really about people. It's really about change management. You see that people are rejecting change, rejecting new technologies. Users are not helping IT departments to implement solutions. So it's always like, oh, that's a project from IT, but it's not our project. Or they want to put these iPads to remove the salespeople. So let's not adopt that technology. So what I have found is that digital transformation, the real transformation, is most about transforming people, leadership, culture, changing the way you work, more than really buying toys and technology. So usually what many of them tell me, I see myself like investing in technology, like buying a Porsche, but I don't know how to drive it. And I think if we drive that Porsche at full velocity, we are going to kill ourselves with this technology. So those are basically my 7 deadly and capital sins of digital transformation, Kim.
I think what you're saying is your view on it is really music to my ears, and it's exactly what we actually seeing as well. It's quite funny to see that obviously in some parts we might have come further, but in the whole picture, I think we are struggling with the same sort of discussions with our customers, actually trying to get a hold of where are you in the digital transformation and where do you have to start. And I agree with you, having that technical depth and having to move forward and include both people, processes and technology.
Mm. Sounds like there's a huge market for consultants at your place. So
well, what I see now with COVID-19, of course, and you have seen the cartoons all around the social media, is like COVID-19 is accelerating digital transformation, because you have to go to new sales channels, of course, e-commerce, and transform all your digital touch points to help customers buy your products. So this is going to be a big catalyst for this. But if some companies are on denial, maybe consultants cannot help them. But I think people are going to open more their minds to technology during this pandemic.
When those companies are doing this step by step and they get insights about that they have this digital depth that you was talking about, do they establishing the foundations or the basic parts, or do they accelerate directly to the another totally different level?
Well, that's a great question. It's sometimes you don't have, I would say, the technology assets to really, for instance, we are working with a company that have a bad configuration of their ERP, and they don't have their data really clean. So, I mean, when you want to put that on top of that, it's very difficult. So you have to do both like at the same time. But you cannot wait to clean the house to actually start doing something. So sometimes you have to do some kind of connection between legacy systems and new systems. Let's talk about banks. You cannot transform your core banking systems. You cannot wait 2 years to transform your core banking system to improve your digital banking experience. So it's kind of, you have to go in parallel, but there's a lot of technical debt. Companies have still to pay to have their technology to enable the cool things they need to do.
Okay. Thank you, Mario. It's been really interesting to just look into your world and Costa Rica for about 15 minutes. And we know you're busy and have other meetings as well. So thank you for taking the time and joining us at Hello World.
Yeah, one more question. If you can give just a few words, what's your major recommendation to the CIOs in your market right now, if they're looking at this program? A final recommendation.
It's very easy. If you go to most of digital transformation initiatives, if you go to most of companies who are digital transforming on, say they are doing so, the first question that you have to make is, how much money, how much return on investment is your digital transformation providing? Usually the answer is, I don't know. So they usually don't have the metrics. And when you go and do a business case on each of the digital initiatives they are doing on their portfolio of transformation, most of them don't have. So they're doing a lot of cool stuff. Oh, let's open this digital channel, let's do this app, which is not moving the needle for the business. So the question they have to do is review your portfolio of digital transformation initiatives and make sure they are providing either competitive advantage or increased profit for your business.
Perfect. Final words.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. Take care.
Thank you, Kim. I hope you are healthy and well. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, Kim, that was a great contact from your network.
Yeah, wasn't it?
And more to come.
Absolutely.
I know that you have listed hundreds of people that we're going to interview in this program. So, thanks for joining our first Hello World. Like the video and share it to your friends. So we're looking forward to see you again. Thank you and goodbye. Hello World.